All right, we are live. We are back. Oh man, what's up, everybody? This is Boxingwave. Please subscribe to the channel. I am a few hours away from flying out of here and heading to the UK because I will be watching this fight live. I'm excited. I can't wait to see this fight Saturday, man. This is going to be my second attempt to watch a boxing match out in the UK. All right, the first attempt was the last time I went out to London. It was supposed to be Anthony Joshua, Dillian White rematch out in Wembley. This was in 2019. This is leading up to the Andy Ruiz fight. Had booked it like the year before, like December or something, November, December, when they reserved the space for Wembley. And that fight never happened. But I ended up going to London anyway. I enjoyed my time there. I was a tourist there, and it was dope. It was a great trip. This trip is going to be a different trip. Obviously, the fight is this Saturday. I am going to be stopping in Paris, spending a day in Paris as well. But yeah, I'm leaving. I'm flying out in a few hours, and I wanted to do this. First of all, this breakdown is about a week old. I was supposed to do this breakdown sometime last week. Just been caught up with time. Been very busy week, and trying to cover the other things that's been going on in boxing. All right, so I'm about a week old with this. I mean, I was probably ready to do this breakdown like a week ago. I had done my film study already. Um, but we're here, and I figured since it's so late, and I figured, let me just do the breakdown live because I'm interested in hearing what you guys got to say as well. And this is not going to be one of my normal breakdowns. I don't know if you guys been here and heard me and my thoughts about this fight. You might know where I'm going to go with this, but we'll talk more about that shortly. What's up, everyone that's in the chat? What's up, G Funky? What's good? Make sure you guys subscribe to my man G Funky Boxing. Ralph is in the building. Vitalage is in the building. Gio, Glenn, what's happening? What's up, Arthur? All right. I'm very excited this fight, and I really like Anthony Yarde. I really like Anthony Yarde. And that's part of the reason why I'm going out to the UK to watch this fight live. Is because I am a big fan. I might not talk about him much, but I am a big fan of Anthony Yarde. I've been critical of him on his channel as well, and we'll get to that. But I am a big fan of Anthony Yarde for sure. I love Anthony Yarde, and I don't know why he gets criticized so much. Maybe it's because of his coach. I don't really know, but I can say this. I like Yarde because I think he has accomplished a lot just off the strength that he only had 12 amateur fights and he's only had 24 or so professional fights. I love Anthony Yarde. I mean, just off the strength of what he's able to do. I know he lost to Kovalev. I know he lost to Lyndon Arthur in the first fight, but just off the strength of what he's been able to do with that low amount of experience is incredible to me. So I like him. I like his character. Very confident in himself, but he doesn't come off as arrogant to me. You know what I'm saying? I think the dude is just really confident in his ability. And I know a lot of people don't like Tundi, and I get that. It is what it is. If you don't like him, you don't like what he says in interviews, you don't like his coaching, his training, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I like Yarde, and what made me become a fan of Yarde is just watching him train. I like the way they train. I like the way they prepare for a fight. I just like their whole team. I think they're fun, excited. I think he's fun and exciting to watch, and that's part of the reason why I pay the money to fly out there to see the fight. Yes, I am sitting right in the very first row, right there. I'm usually get floor seats and all of that, but I'm sitting that right in the center in the front row. I really want to see this fight. Artur Beterbiev. Let's talk about him real quick. Yo, every once in a while, and Jermaine, thank you for the donation, man. I see you, brother. I appreciate it. He said, Yarde going to get his cheeks clapped Saturday. Pause. Yeah, heavy pause. But you can't say cheeks clapped. That's a little too much, bro. But thank you for the donation, man. Artur Beterbiev. Every once in a blue, when I'm getting ready to do a breakdown, I go back into some of my old videos that I did. Yes, I do that sometimes every once in a blue. Um, I've been making videos about Artur Beterbiev for 9 years. My first breakdown or my first video of him was in 2014. We're in 2023 right now. That's crazy to me. All right. And as much as I respect Arthur, I have him in my top 10 pound for pound. I think he's one of the strongest fighters out there. I think he's one of the biggest punchers, if not the biggest punchers out there. Respective, much respect for him. He beats the shit out of everybody that I root for. Now, I've never actually picked against him before, but he beats the hell out of everybody that I like. All right. I did a breakdown of him versus Vosdick. I picked Arthur to win, but I wanted Vosdick to win. I wanted Vosdick to win. He beat the hell out of him. All right. No, it was a very competitive fight, though. Let me not say that. My man, Marcus Brown. Love Marcus Brown. That's my guy. He beat the hell out of Marcus Brown. All right. I picked Beterbiev to win, though, but he beat him down. Last year, he comes to New York. He fights my guy, Joe Smith Jr. Love Joe Smith Jr. New York native. I went to the fight. I'm hyping it up. I'm thinking that this fight is going to be a brawl. He beat the shit out of Joe Smith Jr. in New York. And let me tell you something. I was there. Everyone was hyped. The amount of love Joe Smith received in that arena that night, people was loving it in New York. And Arthur came and beat him worse than anybody else that he beat up. And Joe Smith has never even been knocked down before. He keep beating up everybody that I like. And that's part of the reason why I choose to pay my money to see this fight. I love this fight because I like both of the guys. And I think this is going to be a great fight. You know, regardless, I've been reading the comments. Everybody thinks Yarde is going to get molly-whopped in there. And that's cool, you know. But I think this is going to be a good fight. And I think at the end of this fight, no matter which way it goes, I think people is going to respect Yarde. Better be if everybody already respects him because we all know how dangerous he is already. You know, we already know that. But I think when this fight is over, I think that people are going to have a lot of respect for Yarde, even if he loses. Even if he loses and he gets stopped. Because this fight is not going to distance. There's no way this fight goes to distance. If this fight goes to distance, it might end up being fight of the year for the rest of the year. If this fight actually goes to distance, it might not. It might be fight of the year without it going to distance. I just can't see this fight going to distance. If Yarde wins this fight, he's going to have to stop Beterbiev. Beterbiev is stopping everybody he faces anyway. That's a guarantee. He's going to stop you regardless. All right, if he's winning. He has to get knocked out in order to lose, in my opinion. All right. So let's talk about the fighters. Beterbiev just turned 38 this week. All right, he just turned 38. I was talking about experience earlier. I was talking about the amount of fights that Yarde had. You know, not a lot of experience, only 12 amateur fights. He's 23. He has 20. He has 23 wins, 22 by knockout with 2 losses. Lost to Kovalev, and he lost at Lyndon Arthur, right? First fight. Came back, avenged that loss. All right, so he's 23-2 with 22 knockouts. So he's knocked out. He's stopped every single fighter he's fought, or he won against one guy. He went 4 rounds with one guy, right? Early in his career, I think it's like his second or third professional fight, right? Lost to Kovalev in the 11th round. All right, went deep waters, had his moments though, almost stopped Kovalev in the 8th, but it wasn't enough, burned himself out. Kovalev ended up outboxing him for the majority of the fight and ended up stopping him late, you know. Yes, please smash that like button. What's up, old dirty boxing? What's up with you? So we got Yarde. Think he has a slight, they're around the same height, you know, we saw the face off. They're around the same height. They have him listed as 6 foot, 72-inch reach. All right. Yarde is Yarde is 31 years old, you know. Um, and then you got Beterbiev. He's 38. He's 5'11. They have him listed at 5'11. Again, they have the same height, same reach. Think they have Beterbiev at 73-inch reach. And he's 18 wins, 18 KOs, 100% knockout ratio with good opponents. I mean, his resume is great. He has one of the best resumes in the pound for pound list. I mean, if we just talking about resumes, he has one of the best resumes. All right. He's stopping guys. He's destroying really, really good fighters who beat really good fighters. All right. So going into this fight, I put my money down on Yarde in the middle of December. Wherever they faced off originally, I put my money on Yarde. It's not a logical pick. Not much of a logical one. A little logic in there. I put my money on Yarde right away on a knockout. I did. I'm not going to even lie. This is going to be my first time betting against Artur Beterbiev. All right. I know it's a long shot. I believe Yarde could win this fight. If I'm wrong and I lose my money, I'm cool with it. I have faith in Anthony Yarde. But I'm going to break this down the right way, like I normally do. And Artur Beterbiev has almost all of the advantages. Yarde is a puncher. I still think Beterbiev is the bigger puncher. He has miles of experience over it. This guy had 300 amateur fights. He's beaten very good fighters in the amateurs. He's fought Usyk in the amateurs. He's fought Kovalev in the amateurs. He fought Wolzdick in the amateurs. He's fought a lot of people in the amateurs. All right. He has a ton of amateur experience. He has better pro experience. Yarde, 12 fights in the amateurs. Who knows who he fought in the amateurs? 12 fights in the amateurs and 25 professional fights. But he's got where he got today. This is going to be his second title fight opportunity with under 40 all-time fights. All-time. That's very impressive. It's very impressive to me. That's why I like him. Beterbiev, he's getting old, but he hasn't looked old at all. He did not look old at all against Joe Smith Jr. He looked normal. And Beterbiev, he basically is injured before every fight. I mean, through all of the injuries and all of the delays, and if you include the age, he just fought Joe Smith Jr. in the summer and fought Marcus Brown in the winter before that. And he did not look old at all. He gave them the typical beatdown that he gave Taururas Cloud early in his career. All right. Taururas Cloud, Gabriel Campillo, Jeff Page Jr. All of those guys he fought early back then, when I was making videos back then, he beat Marcus Brown and Joe Smith Jr. the same exact way. He beat them and he made it look easy, especially Joe Smith Jr. He didn't struggle at all in that fight. I think what we have here is, I think Yarde has a better chance than Marcus Brown. I've been saying this for the past year, probably. I like Yarde's chances better than Brown's and Joe Smith. I think Brown, great fundamentals. He was a southpaw. He was quick. And defensively, he looked good. I think actually in that fight, defensively, he looked better than he's ever been. I think, believe for that fight, he got with Derrick James for that fight, for that one fight. He got with Derrick James. I don't think he was with James before that fight. He got with Derrick James. It just wasn't enough. He fought on his back foot the entire time. And even though defensively, I thought he was a little better, I always thought Marcus Brown had some issues with his chin being up in the air. Even though he's had those issues in the past, I felt like somewhat they were corrected, but it didn't really matter. Shout out to Charles Edward Cheese. Charles Edward Cheese, thank you, my bro. Thank you for the big donation. Always, you already know. Much respect, much love to you, man. I appreciate that. And that's going to definitely help me on this little vacation I booked because it was expensive. But thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Really do. What was I saying? Marcus Brown corrected a few issues. It just wasn't enough because Beterbiev, in my opinion, is the best pressure fighter in the sport. All right. I don't think he's the most well-rounded fighter in the sport. I think he's the best pressure fighter in the sport. Relentless pressure, no backing down, no laying down for you. Pressure, relentless pressure with power and volume. Power and volume. There are other great pressure fighters like Usyk. He is good pressure fighter when he gets on. When he starts to get it going, then he's unstoppable. But Beterbiev comes in with this power that just breaks you. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I feel like Bozdik. I feel like Bozdik did the best. You know what I'm saying? I think Bozdik did well. It's just, it didn't matter. I feel like I was watching that fight maybe about 4 or 5 days ago. Bozdik was doing everything right. It just wasn't enough. I mean, he even caught Beterbiev with a good shot, like a big right hand in like the 8th, 7th, 8th round, right? And made him fumble, like he stumbled a little bit. And it just wasn't enough. It's like Beterbiev is just like, damn, you hit him with your best shots. You land combinations, and the guy just keeps coming. It's like nothing you can do. And he broke him down in the 9th and 10th round. But Bozdik wasn't laid out. He was beat down till he couldn't take it anymore. That's Beterbiev in a nutshell. He mentally breaks you down. Yes, he's strong and powerful. Yes, he has. Yes, he's heavy-handed. If you guys look at the face-off, Errol is an excellent pressure fighter too. It's debatable between those two. Errol is actually the first person I thought of too. Was about to say, I think Beterbiev actually fights better on his back foot though than Errol. I think Errol does it differently because Errol has an amazing jab. You know what I'm saying? So he fights behind the jab. Beterbiev is mostly power shots. You know, he probes a lot. He does have a solid jab, but it's mostly combinations. And when he's on the back foot, it's usually because he's facing a guy that's willing to try to pressure him, like Joe Smith and Callum Johnson. But I think he's better at fighting the back foot. I think he's a little bit more technically. He's a little bit more technical because he's more, let me not say technical. He's more versatile than Errol, in my opinion. All right. But you can go back and forth with that. I don't want to make this video about like who's better pressure fighter. I think they're two elite fighters, pressure fighters in sport. Yeah, Bozdik. Bozdik was doing everything well. It just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And it's hard to watch a fight like that when a fighter is preparing and he's just, wish the guy didn't even retire because I don't know. He might have been the second best guy in the division. I would have loved to see the Bivol fight, but the guy just couldn't do it. What I like about Yarde is that Yarde is powerful. He's explosive and he's very fast. I think Yarde, when he comes forward, and he did the last 2 fights, yes, Boxing Nerd says, hit the like, please, smash that like button. When Yarde, and Pocket said as well, shout out to you. When Yarde comes forward, it's not quite like Callum Johnson. It's not like Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith was just reckless. And when I watch that fight, and when I think about that fight and go back and watch it, Joe Smith felt Beterbiev's power so early that I felt that he just abandoned whatever the game plan was. I think Joe Smith felt his power and said, I can't take too many punches like that. I'm going to have to go for it. He fought like he needed to get a knockdown early. You know how Teofimo Lopez fought George Kambosos, and he fought him in a way where he wanted to get a knockout really, really quick, and he paid for it because he got outboxed? That's how I felt about Joe Smith. Joe Smith got hit with a good shot early, and he just fought reckless for the remainder of the fight until he got knocked out. Beterbiev trapped him, kept countering him with short shots, countered him over his jab, and just beat him up. I don't think Yarde fights that way. I don't think he can get Yarde that easily. You see the guy punching the table? He's fired up for this fight. Beterbiev is fired up for this fight. It's different. He's fired up. Yarde is going to come in, and I think Yarde is going to start out coming forward. I think he has to. Can he fight on back foot? Yeah, he can fight pretty good on the back foot. He could definitely handle himself on the back foot. But he's going to be coming forward. He's going to be fighting like the Lyndon Arthur rematch. He's going to be fighting like the Koikov. What's his name? Koikov? Is his name Koikov? What's this guy name? Koikov. All right. I know that was just a tune-up. All right. But he's going to be coming forward. He's going to be going for it. And Beterbiev is going to welcome it. Because what Beterbiev can switch and fight that way, where if you're going to come after me, you're going to walk into something. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's how this fight is going to start. It's going to start with Yarde coming forward, and Beterbiev is going to fight off his back foot a little bit. Now, how do I think this fight plays out? Well, it can play out in a number of ways, because I do think Yarde is improving with every fight, right? We saw in the Lyndon Arthur rematch. I think when we go back and look at his older fights, when we look at the Kovalev fight, and let me talk about Yarde for a little bit. I'm just gonna be going back and forth. It's live. I just needed to go live. I think with Yarde, when I look at his career, he fought a bunch of guys. No one cared for it. I think it was real early that we realized that he needed to start fighting better fighters, because it was clear to me that he was very fast, he was very powerful, and he needed a better challenge. Once we started hearing about Kovalev, I didn't really like it, because I know Kovalev at that time, to many, he was past his prime, but at that time, he was still very good. He already had lost to the Andre Ward those fights. I thought Ward lost the first fight, and I thought the second fight was disputed. It was very disputed because of the low blow controversy stuff, right? So whatever. He lost those fights. Cool. We move on. He loses to Leader Alvarez. That first fight is the first fight I said, okay, Kovalev is on a downhill at this point. But he changed his trainer, picked up Buddy McGirt, picked up the win in a rematch, right? And then he fights Anthony Yarde. And I thought at that time, I said, Yarde looks great, but I think this is too soon, especially because Kovalev had already made adjustments working with Buddy McGirt. I thought that was just a real bad time to shoot straight up to Kovalev. Kovalev was still a champion at the time, and I thought it was just too soon, even though he looked phenomenal looking, moving up to that point, and it was a bad move. You know why? Because that lack of experience kicked in. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to my guy, Boxing Gems. Ryan from Boxing Gems. Shout out to Ryan. He made an incredible film study of these two. I mean, I don't think it was mainly pointing out the flaws with Yarde. I don't think anyone has pointed out the flaws in Yarde as thoroughly as he did. The cross steps, coming forward with the back leg first, the hopping that he does. I think the major flaw too is his left hook, which I think needs to be a huge factor in this fight coming up. That check left hook. He doesn't tend to step around or lean out of the way of his opponent's shot when he throws the left hook. He just throws it and his head stays there in the center. And he showed film study, you can see it. And you watch it, go back and watch the Kovalev fight, you'll notice that every time he hops forward, he puts himself right in range to get hit with a jab. It seemed like Kovalev probably knew that before going in the fight, because every time it happened, he would just pop a jab and hit Yarde. You know how Yarde likes to hop in and hop back? You know, he'll step back with his lead foot when he goes backwards first. And then when he's coming forward, he steps in with his back foot first. Every time he did that hop, Kovalev just pop him with a jab over and over. Watch the fight. It's on YouTube. And the check left hook, he would throw it, but he's eating a jab as he's throwing the hook. So it's like you're taking one to give one. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not really getting out of it. Now, when you fight Artur Beterbiev, I can see that hook being a hook that can really hurt Artur. You know why? Because Artur likes to lunge in with straight shots. He likes to lunge in. He'll lead with a shot and then throw the combination. Like, he'll jump in. That would be a great opportunity to connect with a check left hook, to time it right, and then follow it up with something better. But if you're going to stand there in front of him, not only may you take the shot, well, that's the problem. You might land the hook, but you're going to take the shot as Beterbiev is coming in. So it's like pointless almost. And he needs, oh shit, it's snowing. Oh wow. Snowing a lot. I got a flight in a few hours. Oh, okay. I guess that's gonna be delayed. So anyway, oh man, I heard that there was gonna be a storm, but I didn't know it was gonna start this soon. All right. So anyway, let me get back to my train of thought here. Yo, all right. So Yarde, great video, by the way, by Boxing Gems. A lot of breakdown, a lot of flaws there in his game. At the end of the day, Yarde is gonna have to. He has to be a bully, but he has to be intelligent with it. Not like the way Joe Smith, not like the way Callum Johnson. Well, I don't think he's like Callum Johnson, because Callum Johnson just did good puncher, but he just didn't have the ability. You know, he doesn't have the boxing ability. I think Joe could have done a little better. All right, but he just, his fundamentals, he threw that out the window real soon, real quick in the first round. So with that being said, Yarde, I've been seeing some changes. I like the fact that he's not relying solely on the Philly shell. He's starting to keep his hands up a little bit more. I noticed in the Kovalev fight, he was getting jabbed to death. Not only that, but never went far in any fight. Only he's gone 6 rounds tops. We saw what happened in that 8th round. Almost stops Kovalev, right? Almost stops him in the 8th. But after that, he had nothing left. Kovalev beat him, wore him out, got him out of here, stopped him, right? But he took a lot of punches. He's shown to us that he could be a very durable fighter. Kovalev is still a big puncher, and he seems to be finished with exhaustion, right? Not taking anything away from Kovalev, because he landed a lot of shots, he landed a lot of jabs, a lot of right hands, he boxed well. It was just too much for him. I live in New York. I live in New York, Ross. Thank you, Contemplate Boxing. I appreciate it. So Lyndon Arthur happens. The Lyndon Arthur first loss was due to a lack of experience. You had lost to Kovalev not too long before that because you were gassed out. You had stamina issues. You had troubles keeping your arms up. We saw you tired. So what happens? He took He gave away too many rounds to Lyndon Arthur. By the time he started getting it on, it was too late. He already gave up too many rounds. And then you're fighting another good fighter, very good fighter with a great jab. So you got outboxed and you got outscored. Yes, he finished strong. He gave us a preview of what was going to happen in the second fight, which we got. But it was too late. And you lost the fight. He goes into a rematch and destroys Lyndon Arthur. Cool. He destroys him. He showed to us that Lyndon was never really in his league. It was just bad tactics, right? From him and his coach. Because they took long. They took too long to get it going. Yeah, Tommy, I'm going to see the fight. I'm flying out to London today. Yeah, you know. Gorgaruga says Beterbiev turned 38 on Saturday. Yeah, I said this earlier. Beterbiev, craziest training I've seen. Some of the stuff that he's able to do preparing for a fight is crazy. And he doesn't look like he's aging at all. Very strong fighter. I wouldn't expect him to celebrate or anything like that. 38 years old, and he doesn't look any different now than what he did when he was 31. You know what I'm saying? He looks great. He looks phenomenal. I don't know if there are tickets still available. I bought my ticket. I got mine like maybe like a month ago now. So I haven't checked. But yeah. So Beterbiev, as strong as he's looked in his career and as dominant he's been, he does have a flaw, and he's a major flaw. And his major flaw really is just he's hittable. You know, in order for him to cause the kind of damage that he causes, in order for him to give you the kind of pressure that he gives, he's going to have to take some hits. And that's exactly why he's been rocked a few times, been down a couple times. You know, he got knocked down by Jeff Page. Flash knockdown. Well, wasn't the biggest knockdown. He wasn't hurt bad, but he got caught. You know, his head is kind of dead center too. Both of them are. Both of them are. Beterbiev, he gets caught with a good shot. All right. Calvin Johnson caught him in the middle of an exchange. Beterbiev, once he has you hurt, he tries to put you away. And those are the moments where you can catch him with a counter and in between those exchanges. That's when he's the most vulnerable. That's when you go for it. Not only that, Yarde, very good body puncher as well. Beterbiev is a phenomenal body puncher, but Yarde is a very good body puncher too. That's what almost stopped Sergey Kovalev. That's what put Lyndon Arthur, part of what put Lyndon Arthur away. His combination, his body punches, he's relentless too. Now, we haven't seen it on a level as Beterbiev, but he has the tools to do it. He has the ability. You can't sleep on him. Now, I know me putting money on Yarde is simply because of the betting odds. But I actually believe that he has a chance of winning. I think every once in a while, we're going to get an upset. We got one last week. I wasn't expecting that one. We might get one this weekend. And the way I see this fight going, the longer the fight goes, the less of a chance that Yarde has. If this fight goes past 6 rounds, Yarde is pushing it. If this goes past 6 rounds, I want to say 5. If this fight goes past 5 or 6 rounds, once we start getting into the 7th, 8th round, and Yarde and Beterbiev is still on, I give Beterbiev all of the advantages in those later rounds. You know why? Because I seen Beterbiev fight fight great at those later rounds. You know, stops Marcus Brown in the 9th. He stopped Adam Dynas in the 10th. I remember watching that fight. Beterbiev didn't look great there, but he was inactive for a while, and I personally believe that he was just trying to get the rounds in. in my opinion. He stopped Alexander Volzik in the 10th round. You know, Colin, he stopped him in the 12th. I don't remember that fight. I can't say I've seen that. Oh, I do remember that fight. I did see that fight. I remember that fight. He stops him in the 12th. But my point is, Beterbiev have late round experience. Yarde doesn't. And the two fights that we seen him go to distance or almost go to distance, he's lost. He lost in the later rounds against Kovalev. All right, after the 8th round, Kovalev came back. And Lyndon Arthur, yes, he did turn it around against Lyndon Arthur late, but he gave too many rounds away early in order to do that. So it doesn't really count in a loss. Like, you know, I like Beterbiev in the later rounds. I like Beterbiev in the early rounds too. It's just that I think Yarde has a better chance in the earlier rounds. It's got to be a firefight. Yarde is going to come at him. Beterbiev is going to work it, welcome it. Who's going to win? We just going to have to wait and see. Logically, Beterbiev should win this fight. You know, because he has the experience and all of the tools to win, plus the power. He's fought better fighters and looked more impressive against better fighters. So logically, Beterbiev should win. But Yarde has a chance because Beterbiev could be hurt. That's proven. Beterbiev could be hurt. Beterbiev is fighting one of the fastest fighters he's fought, one of the strongest fighters he's fought. And Beterbiev is 38 years old. I know he didn't look 38 against Joe Smith. I know he didn't look it against Marcus Brown, but he could look it against Anthony Yarde this Saturday. He could look it. So that's my stance on this. I put money on Yarde because I want to win. I want to win some money. And I believe Yarde can win. I do. I actually do believe. I believe Yarde can win. I believe it. Logically, if I had no money involved on nothing again, you know, nothing for the fighters, Beterbiev is a smart, safer pick. You know, but I'm going to this fight. I want to see it in person. This could go out in so many ways, man. This could be one of those fights that could be a complete brawl, and we might get 3 or 4 rounds of straight action before someone gets knocked out. Thing about Yarde as well is if Beterbiev gets hurt or gets caught with a good shot, I think Yarde is going to do a better job than Page or Volzik or Callum Johnson. Beterbiev, we already know what he comes in. We already know what he does. We already know he's great at stopping people. Or this could be a disaster for Yarde because Yarde can get hit with a good shot from Beterbiev and mentally just say, nah, I don't want no parts of this guy. It's happened to so many other fighters. Beterbiev could hit him hard with a shot in the very first round, and Yarde might retreat. Because the thing with Yarde, even though he can fight on the back foot, he can't win the fight just staying fighting on the back foot. He can't just look for a counter. He's got to have to go in the trenches a little bit. He's going to have to exchange a little bit. He's going to have to get hit a little bit. He showed that he's tough, though. But he's never fought a puncher like Beterbiev. The biggest puncher he's fought was Sergey Kovalev. And Kovalev is a big puncher. But Beterbiev is on a different level. I think he's at the elite level right now. Kovalev was more focused on boxing at the time that Yarde fought him. The priority wasn't power at that time. So this could end up being a disaster. And this could be a total blowout. Yard might go in there and get blown away in the first 3 or 4 rounds. It can happen. It can happen. You know, so I mean, I'm picking Yard. I mean, I want him to win. But this could end up being a disaster because he's never got hit by a guy like that. Let me look at some of the comments you guys are leaving. Wayne says, beat down on Yard, Wave. Get ready. Yes, Key Boomerang says Beterbiev is different for each fight. That's a great point. That's also something that I noticed when I was doing my film study. Beterbiev is a completely different fighter with every fight. Every single one. And it's not about just him coming forward or going backwards. He's literally a different fighter every single fight. But there's one thing in common. He's going to let his hands go and he's going to hurt you. That's the one thing he has in common. He just does it differently each time. He might adjust mid-fight, or he might just come out fighting a different fight. But he can do it all. He's very, very versatile. The only thing he doesn't do is switch. That's the only thing he doesn't do. He does everything else. Only thing, they're both orthodox fighters. That's the only thing he doesn't do. He doesn't switch into a southpaw and just fight southpaw. That's the only thing. But he's extremely versatile. Boxing Pound for Pound says, I lean to this being a disaster wave. I hope not. I actually, honestly haven't even checked out the undercard AI. That's a good question. I've been so hyped about this fight, I haven't even looked at the undercard. Boomerang says Volsdick was way better than Yard. Yeah, leading up to the fight, absolutely. Volsdick had beat Adonis Stevenson. He beat a good amount of fighters. He had a better resume for sure. I mean, and he was a better amateur too. I mean, all of these guys were better amateurs. You know, Volsdick had beat Craig Baker. He beat Isaac Chalamba. He beat Tommy Carpensy, Muhammadi. I mean, he fought solid guys. He fight great, great guys. It was the Adonis Stevenson fight. Oh, the Unieses Gonzalez was a good win. I remember watching that fight. All right, he didn't fight phenomenal fighters, but you know, I think Yard and the amount of time that he's had in the sport and just boxing, period, I think he's been able to accomplish a lot. You know, even in the losses that he's taken without the experience. Frank Warren stops the undisputed fight if Yard wins. No. I'm not even thinking about that right now, bro. You know, because I don't think undisputed happens anyway, because Calvin Smith will be next. You know, there's not going to be an undisputed fight next. It doesn't really matter, you know. We'll be lucky if we can get one by the end of this year, but I don't even think we get one by the end of this year. Hey, Price says, wow, have a safe fight, Wave. It's huge you going there. Yeah, of course, man. I like to go to the fights, man. You know, I like to. Only thing I dislike about going to fights now is that I can't do live commentary. That's the only thing. But I love to go to the fight. I think I always tell people to go to boxing events because it's a different experience, especially if you're close up, you know, especially if you have good seats, because you see things that you wouldn't normally see on TV, you know. Um, yeah. Boxing Pound for Pound says, I believe the style to beat Beterbiev is a boxer with a good punch power, but there isn't one at light heavyweight. Closest is Bivol. I actually think Bivol wins. I think Bivol wins. I think Bivol beats him. But I've changed my mind throughout the years of me covering them both. Boxing Gyms was good with you, bro. I was just talking about you earlier in this video. Shout out to Boxing Gyms, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Shout out to you, Jay Roos Dairy, too. I see you in here. What's up with you? Um, so I do think Yard has a chance, and that's where my money is at for the fight. I jumped on the plus 850 of a knockout. But like I said, it could be I think it's gonna be one of two things. I think it could be a disaster for Yard, or it could be a classic loss for Yard, or Yard might just pull it off and pull off the upset and shock the world. He might shock the world this Saturday. I think he really has a good chance of doing it. And I think he's worked on some of his flaws, a few of them that I named earlier. But um, for the most part, yes, he still lacks the experience that Better BF has. And it could be it. But hopefully for him, maybe Better BF shows age in this fight. But I do think Yard is gonna give. I believe that Yard gives more than what the recent fighters was able to offer Kovalev. I mean, not Kovalev, Better BF. I honestly believe that. Maybe he said Volstik. Volstik showed great boxing, and he showed toughness. All right, he went 10 rounds. All right, he took a lot of punishment. He took a lot of shots, and it looked like he was more exhausted than anything. Um, but I'm curious to see how the how the body language looks of Yard the first time he gets hit with a big shot. That's gonna tell it all. It always does when better be a fight. It always does. How is how is Yard going to look after he gets hit? Because once they get hit, they change, everything changes. And then they start to retreat. And even if they could fight on the back foot, it's not going to be enough. I think Yard, with every round, I think he needs to change it up a little bit. Whatever's working for him, he can't just continuously do it. You know, I said this about Bud Crawford not too long ago. I think if you're going to fight Bud and beat him, I think part of it is you have to change what you're doing against him, because he starts slow, but even if you having success, you have to change what you're doing, because he's going to adjust to whatever you're doing. So I think with Yard, I think he needs to switch it up. Yes, be aggressive, but fight on the back foot. Look to work the counter, because if you're just coming forward, you're going to get tagged, and then you're going to be hunted. And if you're fighting on your back foot for too long, it's going to be like, now he's just coming forward, and now you're going to be pressured. So you get the counter. What I like about Yard is he's going to throw the combinations. Some of the guys that caught Better BF with a good shot before, like Volstik. One thing about Volstik, when I was watching the fight, not much combinations there. He'll throw like one or two punches at a time. So he'll counter, but he wasn't really throwing the combinations like Yard would. I think Yard will hit you with 3 or 4 shots. Now he has to be careful, because Better BF can counter you with those short shots too. Ask Joe Smith. But I think Yard, I like Yard. If he catches you with something good, he's gonna follow it up with something. He's gonna have to change it up. He's gonna be, basically, let me just say this, because I gotta go. He gotta be damn near perfect. He gotta be damn near perfect. But I think he will be, and I think he's gonna give us a good fight. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not worried about being wrong. I just want to see a good fight, and I do want Yard to win, because I'm tired of my guy. I'm tired of Better beating up all my guys that I like. um, but yeah. So anyway, listen, man. I'm gonna get out of here, man. I appreciate you guys for dropping the comments, man, and showing love and giving you your thoughts. I know you guys left a lot of comments, but I have to finish packing and get out of here. I have an hour and a half before I hit the road, and it's snowing now, so I'm probably gonna have to leave just a little bit earlier. So this is the plan. I'm bringing all my stuff. Hopefully, I should be able to make content while I'm there. Hopefully, the hotel I'm staying in is a very good Wi-Fi there, because you know how that goes. That's kind of the reason why I just wanted to go live and not just record this breakdown, because I wanted to I didn't know if how good the Wi-Fi. I don't know if I was going to be able to go live while I was out there. You know, I don't know how good the Wi-Fi is with hotels and stuff. So um I do plan on making content though while I'm out there. All right. So I'll let you guys know. Um Saturday I'll be there again. I got perfect seats. I'm right in the on I'm right ringside, so I will be there. If you are watching the fight, ESPN Plus will have it. If you're out in the UK, you have to watch it on BT Sports. But I do plan on making content when I'm out there though, for real. And yeah, and that's it. All right. So listen, appreciate you guys. Thank you for the safe trip travels, wishes. And I'll see you guys out in London. All right. I'll be touching down. If anything, I'll probably try to make some content tomorrow. All right. So I'll see you guys. Have a good one. Later. Peace. Oh, and subscribe to the channel.